What's up, YouTube? Welcome to ExceedTheHype.com. It's your boy Lucrecio coming at you with another video. Alright, this video is just talking about 3 failed trade opportunities for Paul George. 3 times Cleveland tried to trade for Paul George and failed. Alright, so the first one was the first attempt, which was basically a straight up trade because it works. Paul George makes about $19 million a year. Kevin Love makes about $22 million a year. It works. They tried it. It didn't work. Obviously, the first one, Indiana believed that they were not getting trade value, enough trade value for Paul George, which I kind of disagree with. Paul George is great, but Kevin Love had a really outstanding season this year. I thought in the playoffs he was outstanding as well, but Indiana did not see it that way. Indiana was not interested in his contract or Kevin Love as the player. All right, that's 1. 2, it gets a lot more interesting than that. The second trade is a little bit more realistic. The Cavaliers tried to entice Denver to give up some of their assets, some of their young pieces, and possibly draft picks. The plan was to get Paul George to Cleveland, Kenneth Faried to Cleveland as well. I believe Moutier was going to go to the Pacers along with some of their other pieces. I would assume Shumpert. I'm assuming the Cavs are going to try to dump Shumpert on somebody. I'm assuming Shumpert was going to go somewhere. And naturally the Nuggets were going to get Kevin Love and some other pieces from the Pacers. There were probably other pieces involved. There's very little information on this trade as far as the actual moving parts in this trade, but we do know for sure that the Cavs recruited the Nuggets as trade partners because they were interested in taking back Kevin Love. All right, that's trade number 2. Now the next one is the most interesting and the most ridiculous trade, and this one, from what I understand, is 100% true. The trade was Kyrie Irving, and once again, not Kevin Love this time. Kyrie Irving going to and Channing Frye going to the Phoenix Suns for Eric Bledsoe and a number 4 pick. The number 4 pick was going to then be traded from Cleveland to Indiana for Paul George. So Cleveland gets Paul George. Indiana gets the number 4 pick. I believe Eric Bledsoe would end up in the Cavs with the Cavs as well, and Kyrie Irving would end up with the Phoenix Suns. This particular trade, it's ridiculous. Apparently, they were going to try it. Dan Gilbert or one of his representation went to LeBron James to try to get his sign off on it, and he said no. And he said definitely he would not be re-signing if that was the case, or at least that he wanted to keep his options open. But I believe he probably said he was not going to re-sign if you trade his running partner. But yeah, that trade just is a franchise changer. Now, I understand some of the logic. If you believe that your team has taken a turn and is no longer a defensive-minded team, if they're all offense, Eric Bledsoe is a very superior defender to Kyrie Irving. Paul George is a great defender. LeBron is also a very good defender in his own right. So they would get a lot better defensively. They would lose a lot of explosion on offense, losing Kyrie Irving. And the idea of trading Kyrie Irving at this point, because you got to remember, Kyrie Irving is a huge part of why they won the championship. I believe that was a crazy one, and the fact that they actually gave it some thought about actually trying to pull the trigger on that one is beyond me. All right, definitely understand Kevin Love being traded though. Not that I'm saying he's not a good player. He's obviously very good. The problem with Kevin Love is that the Cavs are trying to beat the Golden State Warriors. Literally, they got everybody else in the back. And let's talk about why they have Kevin Love in the first place. If you remember, and I'm just going to touch on this real quick. If you remember, back in 2014 when the Miami Heat got rolled by the Spurs coming back on their revenge mission after LeBron beat them, after the Miami Heat beat them the year before, when they came back with all the ball movement and the 7-8 passes per possession. After LeBron lost that one, he went back to Cleveland. Kevin Love was a direct answer to what he thought he would face over and over in the finals, which was the Spurs, is what he thought at the time. Kevin Love was and if you watch when they match up with the Spurs when Kevin Love is healthy, the offense the Cavs run Kevin Love gets open a lot in the corner. He gets a lot of good wide open shots. LeBron wanted Kevin Love to beat that Spurs team. He was there for the Spurs, basically. However, as none of us can see the future, the Spurs are not the one that he has to face every year in the finals. It's the Warriors. Kevin Love does not work for this Warrior matchup at all. The year that they won last year, they won despite having very little contribution from Kevin Love. It wasn't because of him. And that's ultimately why they need to get rid of him, is because he just doesn't fit that particular matchup, and that's going to be the matchup over and over in the finals. All right, leave your comments. Let me know what you think about these particular trade scenarios and whether you believe them. I did not source them. They are all from Twitter. They are all from various reporters on Twitter. Some ESPN, some wherever. But yeah, let me know. Leave your comments, and see you next time.